Just saying that to Emma Corrin in front of a live audience and on a big TV show, and she looked very unprepared for that. So I think that was just really mean-spirited. Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Sashti Flo, and here on my channel I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood and working as an entertainment reporter. First of all, again, thank you so much for your engagement. Thank you for your tips. You're sending me so many great little clips and links, and I look through everything, and yeah, you guys are really amazing, so thank you. And as a reminder, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode, and check also if you have been unsubscribed, because that has happened to a lot of people for some reason. Anyways, okay, so someone sent me this clip from when Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman was guest hosting Jimmy Kimmel's show. I think it's about 8 months ago now, and they had Emma Corrin on the show. Emma Corrin was playing the main villain in Deadpool versus Wolverine. I haven't watched the movie, but I think that's what she did. Anyway, so they had her on the show to talk to her about the movie. You know, the two of them were everywhere promoting this movie together. And Ryan Reynolds said, I have a confession to make to you, Emma. And he goes on with this story that he basically say that Emma Corrin gave him COVID.
So I went home to New York, and I tested myself, and you know, we had a newborn at the time, and the next thing I know, I got COVID. Yeah, and it was the greatest 6 days of my entire life!
Are you serious?
I swear to God, I'm not even kidding.
I gave you COVID?
I'm pretty much.
You had a newborn child?
I don't socialize much, so I think it was you.
First of all, look at Emma Corrin's face. He's trying to make it into something funny and saying it was the best thing of his life because he didn't really have symptoms. But the way he made her feel while saying that, she's just sitting there in front of a live audience and it's televised, and he's accusing her of giving him COVID.
Here's the thing though. My only symptom was low-grade euphoria. I was just alone. And I got to just be alone and think and I could just do nothing all day, and it was like a miracle.
Okay, so I don't need to go and cry behind.
No, you should laugh yourself to death. Thank you. Like, it was amazing.
Especially considering, you know, the shame that we all felt. I remember that feeling when you thought you'd given COVID to someone, or you thought someone had given it to you. It was a really, just thinking back to that phase now, it was a lot of shame. And just saying that to Emma Corrin in front of a live audience and on a big TV show, and she looked very unprepared for that. So I think that was just really mean-spirited. He was trying to save it by saying, oh, it was the best time of my life. Still, she knew that she exposed a newborn baby to COVID, and that's not a good feeling. So yeah, Ryan, not cool. According to some internet sleuths, the timing of this matched the timing of when Blake Lively says in her lawsuit that she got COVID from the sets of It Ends With Us. And she was accusing, she said actually in her lawsuit that, according to this article, she said in the lawsuit that Ms. Lively was told by another producer that because Justin and Jamie's production company, Wayfair, did not have insurance to coverage for COVID, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath deliberately withheld from Ms. Lively that she had been exposed to COVID. Her lawyers claimed in the paperwork both Ms. Lively and her infant child contracted COVID from the outbreak. Now, people are saying that maybe Blake Lively didn't contract COVID from It Ends With Us. Maybe she got it from her husband, who got it from Emma Corrin. And she's saying in the lawsuit that instead of acknowledging responsibility and committing to safety moving forward, they expressed upset over production days missed and resulting costs. Apparently, on the Deadpool set that her husband was responsible for, they didn't have the COVID protocols either because they also got COVID. And now when you see Ryan Reynolds kind of making a fun story about it, and accusing Emma Corrin at the same time. This is the typical sense of humor of this couple, by the way, that they're just trying to be funny, but then they're being mean. And I feel like when Emma Corrin left that stage that day, she probably felt really bad about it. Yeah, because you look at her face, you're like, she did not find that funny, and she was really caught off guard, and it was not a nice thing to do. But anyways, now we know that Blake Lively probably got COVID from her husband and not from It Ends With Us set. I feel like a lot of times now we've seen both Blake and Ryan out in public being interviewed, telling stories that makes no sense. I found this interview with Ryan where he was on CBS Morning, that's 2 years ago, where he was talking about stories from being a child, and he talked about his anxiety and how he was struggling with anxiety. And then he tells his story about that he wanted to pierce his ear while he was adolescent, and he knew that, you know, his dad wouldn't approve. And then he tells his story that he did it anyways, and that he sat down at the table with his 3 brothers and he could feel the dad look at him. And then he felt the dad was looking at his brothers, and he looked around and he saw that all his brothers, 3 other brothers, also had pierced their ear to support him. Okay, I just find that story so unbelievable. Here's a clip while he's talking about it.
He was looking at me, and I could feel him burning a hole through my head. And then I felt his gaze kind of drift over my brothers. And I sort of finally, you know, got the will and the nerve to look up. And I looked up, and my 3 brothers all had an earring in. And they all did that to sort of mitigate my ass kicking.
I don't know, for me, it just doesn't make any sense that you walk into a room and you pierced your ear and you don't notice that your 3 brothers are already sitting there with pierced ears, and you sit down and you look down, you feel someone looking at you, and then you feel your dad looking at the others, and then you look up and then you realize that all of them have their ears pierced. I don't know what you guys think. I just feel like they are making up stories sometimes to the press to make themselves more interesting or to just have good stories. But I just don't believe that story. There's just like, yeah. And all of the 3 brothers went out and they pierced their ear without telling him. And then they just sat there at the dinner, and the dad hadn't noticed all of the 3 brothers having their ears pierced first. I don't know. So Blake Lively also allegedly made up a story to Marie Claire where she talked about her parents actually bringing her to school while she was 3 years old because her brother didn't like to go to school at all. So her mom lied and said she was 6 years old. And she started school at 3, and she said she couldn't even speak. I mean, she said this in Marie Claire. She said, "When I was 3 years old, my mom enrolled me in the 1st grade. My older brother was supposed to start school, but he didn't want to go alone. So my mom told them I was 6 since I was so tall." You're not, I mean, I'm tall. I'm taller than Blake. And when I was 3, I wasn't as tall as a 6-year-old. But after a few weeks, they said they would have to put me in mentally disabled classes because I wasn't up to pace with the rest of the kids. They thought that I was slow because all I wanted to do was sleep while the kids were doing their projects. So my mom took me out of school. Okay, so I don't know how it is in school in America, but I think it works the same way mostly everywhere, that you have to show some papers of when you were born, when you enroll in a school. And she was 3 and her parents lied to say she was 6. That story makes no sense to me. And someone pointed out to me, she told this story as well on Regis and Kelly, where Anderson Cooper was, I think he was standing in for Regis that day. But she told the same story there. And looking at Anderson Cooper, he's just like, when she's telling this story, he's just like, okay, did you just tell us that? That just like makes absolutely no sense. Just look at this.
So you were 3 years old, but you were going to school with 6-year-olds?
Yeah, I was going to, I was in like 1st grade.
Right.
Wow. And all I wanted to do was sleep, and I couldn't talk.
What's wrong with you? Why can't you read this?
But I was as tall as the rest of the kids, so it was okay. So they ended up having to pull me out. So I count that school. There were a few little mishaps like that.
I see. Wow.
I just don't believe it. Yeah, it's crazy to me that they just make up these stories, allegedly, that makes no sense. And why would she tell a story like that? And the thing is, she wouldn't remember this. You don't remember things from you're 3 years old. That's very, very rare that you have any memory of that, and that she would tell that story like she remembered it, or as if her mom told her that, then her mom was not telling the truth. Anyways, crazy family. In the meantime, there's a story on Justin Baldoni. There's some paparazzi shots of him in the Daily Mail. He has gotten a new haircut. I don't necessarily like the new haircut, but you know, he's a good-looking guy anyways. It looks like he's still in Hawaii here. He's been there for a while. I looked at his Instagram today and I saw he hasn't posted anything since December of last year. So he's just kept a really low profile since all of this happened. In contrast to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, who are desperately seeking attention all the time on social media or going to events or premieres, he is just keeping a very low profile in Hawaii with his family, focusing probably on getting his strength back. Even though, you know, he gets a lot of support from people, and I'm sure he feels that, it's still like all the things that he experienced throughout that whole process with her must be so traumatizing for him and his family. Well, it makes me happy to see that he's enjoying life in Hawaii with his family. I think he deserves some time off. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support, as I say every time. I really, really do. And some of you guys have sent me pictures of you in the t-shirts from my Etsy store. You guys are so cute. Thank you for doing that. It makes my day when I see some of you guys wearing my shirts. So anyways, if you're interested in those, there are a link in the description to all the different t-shirts that I created for this drama. So yes, thanks again for watching, and subscribe if you haven't, like, and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye!